Hello! I returned from New York just a couple of days ago and it feels so good to be back in my sunny, tiny little house making a video for you. One of my favorite videos to watch on YouTube is the classic top 3 in every category, but they can be pretty daunting to create. There are so many wonderful products to choose from. Anyway, it has been a couple of years since my last top 3 in every category. I will list it in the cards and below, so it is high time for an update. Now there are some repeats, some forever favorites, but some of my old favorites have been discontinued, and I do have some new favorites to share with you. Also, I decided to break this up into 2 videos so we are not here forever. So today we are going to do complexion products, and in a week or 2 we will do eyes and lips. As usual, all of the products we're talking about today, including shade names, will be listed and linked in the description box below, so you can check out products, do a little research, maybe even a little shopping. Keep in mind, many of the links are affiliate. And what that means is if you do choose to shop using my link, I may earn a small commission at no cost to you. Absolutely no pressure. But if you do choose to shop using my links, I thank you very, very much. It really does help to support my channel. And with that, let's jump into it. Starting with primers, and this is an easy one because in general, I don't use a dedicated primer under my foundation for longevity. Foundation tends to last pretty well on my dry skin. I don't have particularly enlarged pores, so I don't own any pore-filling primers. I consider my skincare my primer in terms of helping my foundation apply and blend seamlessly. Occasionally, I may use a glowy primer under a foundation if I'm trying to add more glow, but that doesn't happen very often because, as you will see, most of my foundations have somewhat of a radiant finish. However, I do own one product that I would consider a primer, and that is my e.l.f. Halo Glow. This is a really lovely, glowy complexion product that really does help add a little bit of glow if you apply it under a foundation. So my one and only primer is my e.l.f. Halo Glow. Now, I know that might not be very helpful for some of you who are looking for a primer for longevity or pore filling. So please, if you have any favorite primers, please share it in the comment box so we can all learn from each other. Foundation. Now this is a much bigger category, but keep in mind, my 63-year-old skin is really quite dry. Full coverage or matte foundations just tend to suck the life out of my skin, and they can actually make me look at least 10 years older. So my preference in terms of foundation is for a light to medium coverage with a finish that ranges anywhere from natural satin skin-like finish all the way up to radiant and glowy. And I do tend to use slightly different foundations in the winter when my skin is extra dry versus the summer when I'm dealing with heat and humidity. So I am going to break this up by season. Partly because it's just too hard to choose. Only 3 foundations, so this is my little cheat to share more foundations with you, but truly all of these foundations can be used year-round. We do have quite a few products to go through, so I am going to do this mini review style. Many of the products that I'm sharing with you today, I do have dedicated review videos, which I will link in the cards and in the description box below if you would like a little bit more detail on some of these products. Starting with my summer foundations, keep in mind, my skin is much less dry in the summer, almost normal, and I get plenty of glow from the heat and humidity. So what I look for in a summer foundation is, of course, light to medium coverage, but as far as finish, I lean more towards the natural satin skin-like finish versus something that is overly radiant or overly glowy. Like I said, I get plenty of glow from the heat and humidity, but I do need a foundation that will stand up to the heat and humidity. So all 3 of the foundations I'm about to share with you meet all of these criteria. First up, and this is a no-brainer, it is my L'Oreal True Match Super Blendable Foundation. Now, the name says it all. True Match, so easy to find a shade match. I think it comes in 48 shades, which is unbelievable for the drugstore. I am in the shade 3N 3 Neutral, which is perfect for me. Super blendable. Absolutely. I often say this basically blends itself. This has a really lovely natural satin skin-like finish. It feels weightless on the skin. This literally looks and feels like skin. I would say this is almost a foolproof foundation that will work for pretty much all skin types. It is fragrance-free, alcohol-free, does not contain any SPF, which is totally fine with me. I always wear a dedicated standalone SPF. Anyway, I do have a dedicated video review on this if you would like to see it in action. This has been a cult classic fan favorite for years and years and years for very good reason, and thank goodness they finally added a pump. Next up is a newer foundation that was released earlier in 2023, and it is the new Revlon Illuminance Skin Caring Foundation. This is fragrance-free, no drying alcohol, no SPF. It does come in 28 shades, which is not too bad for the drugstore. However, the shades are a little bit difficult. I ordered this online when it was first released, before it was available in any stores, and it took me 4 tries to find the perfect shade. My shade is 213 Light Natural, in case you are my shade twin. However, I do know that at least my local Ulta does offer testers, maybe even samples. So again, shades are a little bit tricky, but once you find a shade match, this is a beautiful medium coverage natural satin with a little bit of radiance, very long wearing foundation. I have been loving it. I am wearing it today. I do have a whole dedicated review video on it if you would like to see it in action. This is a good one. And the last foundation that I do tend to reach for a little bit more in the summer than I do in the winter, but to be clear, all of these foundations can be used year-round. Now this is a foundation I have used and loved for years, and it is the IT Cosmetics Yours Can But Better Plus Skincare. Very lightweight, tons of shades, blends easily. I'll show you the consistency. I can't do that with all of the foundations or we will be here all day long. Anyway, this meets all the criteria: light to medium coverage, satin finish with a touch of radiance. This is a beautiful foundation. It is definitely my favorite IT Cosmetics complexion product, and it is a foundation that I have actually repurchased. Now, I don't remember my shade. I will put my shade in the description box below. This is a good one. Many of you are aware that I live in Minnesota, and our winters are extremely cold and extremely dry, and that cold, dry air sucks all the moisture out of my skin, leaving my skin extra dry. So I look for a winter foundation that's going to provide more moisture, more hydration, and yes, more glow. Now, this first one was a bit of a tie. It was a tie between my Charlotte's Beautiful Skin and my Estee Lauder Hydra Rescue. These are very similar, so I did not want to include both of them in the top 3. I do have dedicated video reviews on both these products, of course, linked below. But the Estee Lauder Hydra Rescue wins out for my top 3 winter foundations. And here is why. It does feel a little bit lighter weight than the Charlotte's Beautiful Skin. It's also just a little bit less glowy. Charlotte's Beautiful Skin is very glowy. Many of you find it to be a little too glowy. This is just glowy enough, offering a beautiful radiance. You know, this has been out for years, so I am very late to the game, but I first tried this last winter when I was really suffering from dry patches, and I was blown away how this foundation just smoothed over my dry patches, didn't accentuate any of the bad stuff. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous foundation. So winter foundation number 1 is the Estee Lauder Futurist Hydra Rescue. Another oldie but goodie that I was super late to the game on is the Anastasia Beverly Hills, the Luminous Foundation. This is fragrance-free, cruelty-free, alcohol-free, comes in 48 shades. I am in the shade 220N, which is a perfect shade match for me. I picked this up because of one of my viewers' suggestions, and she did not steer me wrong. This is very moisturizing. It has a really nice medium coverage, a lovely radiant but not overly glowy finish, very long lasting on my dry skin, and just really, really pretty. And last, but definitely not least, my new love. I just did a video review of this a couple of months ago, and it is the new Ritual Defeat 3-Drop Weightless Serum Foundation. I fell completely in love with this product. It is so incredibly unique. 3 drops will provide beautiful medium coverage on your entire face. Very often I just use 2 drops and I still get a nice light medium coverage. The ingredient list is spectacular. None of the bad stuff, but it is loaded with beautiful skin-loving oils. This does have quite a few oils, but it doesn't feel oily on the skin. It just imparts beautiful moisture, hydration with a lovely, lovely radiance. Again, this is a foundation that will work year-round, but with all those beautiful skin-loving oils, I think my winter skin is going to absolutely love it. One more foundation that I want to very briefly mention. Recently, a viewer asked me what my favorite special occasion foundation is, and although all of the foundations I have just shared with you work for all occasions, including special occasions, my answer to her was I love the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk for special occasions. So pretty on mature skin, perfect medium coverage, lovely soft, radiant, but not overly glowy finish. Really, really pretty. I actually used up an entire bottle, but I have not repurchased it for 2 reasons. Number 1, so expensive. It's well in the $60 range. But more than that, it also does contain denatured alcohol. There's a lot of debate about denatured alcohol, but I personally don't feel comfortable using a product with denatured alcohol on my very dry skin on any kind of a regular basis. Special occasion is okay, but not regular basis. So what I did do is I did purchase a mini of the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk, and this is a foundation that I really, really enjoy for special occasions. It is an iconic cult classic for mature women for a very good reason. It is so, so pretty. As much as I enjoy all of the foundations I have just shared with you, for everyday makeup, I do tend to lean a little bit more heavily on skin tints and tinted moisturizers than foundations. And I have tried a lot of skin tints, so this was a little bit difficult to narrow down. But I did pick my top 3, and just so I don't keep repeating myself, all 3 of these are cruelty-free, fragrance-free, alcohol-free, SPF-free, and they all look like skin. First up, another no-brainer, and it is my Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator. Such an easy, everyday, foolproof, super affordable complexion product. I think it's only $6. This applies and blends easily and seamlessly with my fingers, just like a moisturizer. It offers light to medium coverage with a finish that is just so pretty and natural looking on the skin. I would call it a natural satin skin-like finish, maybe just a hint of radiance. It is very long wearing on my skin. The only negative is the shade range, which is not that unusual for skin tints, especially from the drugstore. The shade light medium does work very well for me. This is something I bring with me every single time I travel because it's so lightweight, so easy. I have repurchased this several times. Highly recommend it. I absolutely love the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator. Next up is my Tarte Maracuja Tinted Hydrator. Again, light to medium coverage, beautiful satin, natural skin-like finish. I do feel like this has a little bit more radiance than the Wet n Wild. I also find it to be just a little bit more moisturizing than the Wet n Wild. It also offers twice the shades as the Wet n Wild. I think this has 20 shades. I am in the shade 20 and light neutral, which is perfect for me. This is another product I take with me when I travel. I use it on a daily basis. I have recently repurchased it during a Tarte sale. You know, Tarte recently launched a glowier version of this, but I love this one so much, I'm not sure if I'm going to try the new one. Have you tried the new one? I would love to hear your thoughts. Anyway, Tarte Maracuja Tinted Hydrator is definitely a favorite. And lastly is the new Hourglass Veil Hydrating Skin Tint. This is a brand new launch a few weeks ago. I did a dedicated video review of this. I will link that in the description box below. I fell head over heels with this product. It is incredibly moisturizing, yet it has the lightest, most sheer coverage of any of the other products that I shared with you today. I would say the coverage on this is sheer to light at most. This really cannot be built up even to a medium coverage. It is quite glowy, perhaps a little bit too glowy on some of these super hot, humid days, yet it is surprisingly long lasting. The thing I love about it the most is it does something so special to the skin. It seems to smooth, it seems to blur. I absolutely love it. I think I'm going to love it even more in the winter when my skin is extra, extra dry. Anyway, I hope you watched that video that I just posted a couple of weeks ago. It is a beautiful product and unlike any other skin tint that I have in my collection. The very first step of my makeup routine is to use a peach corrector to cancel and neutralize dark blue purple inner corner and any dark blue purple I may have under my eyes. And for the past several years, I have not been able to stop using, let's say it all together, my Pixie Peach Corrector. This does such an incredible job canceling and neutralizing any dark blue or purple. It actually enables me to use much less concealer. In fact, there are days where I can use my Pixie, a little foundation or skin tint, and skip concealer altogether. Now, this does have a slightly stiffer formula, but it is very opaque, it is very long lasting. It is a little bit too heavy for me to use all over my under eyes, so I do really just spot correct. You know, I have tried some expensive ones, Bobbi Brown, Charlotte Tilbury, but the Pixie Peach Corrector continues to be a favorite at well under half the price. In fact, I think the Pixie Peach Corrector is my #1 most used cosmetic product, period. And it is my only peach corrector at this moment. Having said that, one of my lovely viewers sent me the Catrice Under Eye Brightener, and she wanted my opinion on how this compared to the Pixie. So here are my thoughts. This is a much silkier, almost balmier formula. And I think you can see it is more pink than peach. It is a little bit more sheer. It is a little bit more moisturizing. I think if you don't have super dark blue purple areas, this is a very nice brightener, very moisturizing. This would be great on no makeup days, but it doesn't have quite enough peach to cancel my dark blue purple inner corner. But I am really happy to have it. I think it's great on no makeup days. I think it's a great brightener, and I think it might work for you if you don't have quite as much dark blue purple as I have. So thank you to my lovely viewer for sending this to me. And this is half the price of the Pixie. I think the Pixie is $12 and the Catrice is $6. Very happy to have it. Thank you to my lovely viewer who sent this to me. Concealers can be so tricky, especially as we are growing older. So many of them look dry and cakey and can actually accentuate every single line and wrinkle. I am testing several new release concealers, but I haven't formed enough of a final opinion about any of them yet to include in this video. So please share your favorite concealers so I can potentially include them in an upcoming concealer roundup. But for now, I am going to share my top 3 favorite concealers. My current favorite concealers. My #1 most used concealer, and I actually just repurchased it, is the Lancome Tint Idole All Over Wear. I can't read it. It has a very long name. This is a good concealer. You know, even though this calls itself a full coverage concealer, and generally I really don't prefer a full coverage concealer, this has such a lightweight consistency. It has a natural skin-like finish. Like I said, I have it in the shade 215 Buff. It blends beautifully. It never accentuates lines and wrinkles. I really don't have to always set this. It does last quite a long time. My most used #1 concealer for sure. Absolutely love it. My other favorite, most used concealer these past few years has been the Kosas Revealer Concealer. It has a beautiful lightweight formula, medium coverage, very hydrating, very radiant. I absolutely love it. For the last couple of years, I was alternating between the Lancome and the Kosas. Now, I don't have the Kosas here to show you because after about a year, my Kosas went rancid. And that is the problem with Kosas. They don't use preservatives, they are clean beauty, and the Kosas concealer does go off after about a year. Now, I am always trying new concealers, so it just doesn't make sense for me to purchase a new one. But if you only have 1 or 2 concealers and you're looking for a moisturizing, radiant, long-wearing, gorgeous concealer, the Kosas might work for you. Now, Kosas did recently come out with minis, and so I am looking forward to picking up a mini because I actually really miss the Kosas. The Kosas, the Lancome have been my top 2 concealers for the past few years. Hopefully they have my shade 2.5 in a mini. And my third favorite concealer is a little bit more on the affordable side. It is the Sephora Collection Bright Future Serum Concealer. Comes in tons of shades, very lightweight, very moisturizing, doesn't accentuate the bad stuff. I have it in the shade Biscotti. You can see it's a little bit on the peachy side, just slightly peachy, which means it's sort of a corrector concealer hybrid. This is moisturizing, hydrating, doesn't accentuate the bad stuff. Very affordable, especially during the Sephora sale when the entire Sephora collection is 30% off. This is another good one. I originally planned to include all of the complexion products in today's video, including bronzer, blush, powder, and highlighter. But I feel like this video is starting to run a little bit long. I'm starting to lose my natural light. I can't believe how much shorter the days are getting already. Anyway, this is now going to be a 3-part series, so stay tuned for bronzer, blush, highlighter, and powder, followed by eyes and lips. And please share your favorites in the comment box so we can all learn from each other. And with that, have yourself a great day, and I hope to see you in my next video. Thank you.